Welcome back to the John Trading channel. You can see that Ethereum has finally made a bullish push above this trend line and it looks like it wants to make pushes higher. Plus Bitcoin is coming back into this support area looking for these massive pushes to the upside, also confirmed with the MACD histogram. I have a lot of crypto news to go through with you today, so make sure you stay tuned until the end of the video. Let's first start with Ethereum. I'll then go on to Bitcoin and then some other altcoins. First with Ethereum, you can see that we made this bullish push above this trend line trading pattern. We also were in this trading range back in this area here, and you can see where we're actually retesting. Initially, this was a resistance zone. Now, once we broke above that resistance zone, this area is now looking to act as a support level. Plus, you can see that we've got this exponential moving average traveling to the upside, now signaling that we have a high probability of continuing to the upside. Back through this area here, you can see how we had a really bullish sloping exponential moving average, and every time we came down to retest this exponential moving average, we made some really solid pushes to the upside, and that's exactly what it looks like it's going to happen right now. We're in between the medium and short-term exponential moving average right now, slightly having a bit of a downturn, but we're actually coming back into this value area, back into this trading range, back to retest this trend line trading pattern and into this exponential moving average. So we got three confluence levels on Ethereum telling me that longs have a high probability. Again, trading is not 100% game, but when you can stack the chances in your favor, take the right risk to reward trade with the right probability trade, then you're looking to make some really solid gains. So I'm currently in a trade with Ethereum where I'm looking to have a couple of percent stop loss and I'm looking to make over 25% on this particular trade, which leads to a 4-to-1 profit factor. Now coming over to Bitcoin, you can see it's not quite as bullish as Ethereum. Ethereum is already above this 20 exponential moving average, whereas on Bitcoin, the exponential moving average is still actually pointing slightly to the downside since we've been in this trading range area. We've also come back to retest this strong support zone and we're right in this area right now. So it's going to be very vital for Bitcoin to hold that level. Plus, we've also got this trend line trading pattern where we can connect these highs and bring it across. And you can see that Bitcoin is not even close to above this trend line trading pattern. So it actually looks completely different to Ethereum. Plus, we look down on the MACD histogram. We've actually had multiple downticks to the downside over 6 days in a row. Although it's above the zero line, you can see that we're actually fading in the volume and there's slightly more selling volume than there is buying volume in these areas. So we're going to need to start to see an uptick since we're now coming back to this support area, which held for multiple weeks, now looking for a push to the upside. If we actually come over and look at Solana on the daily time frame, you can see Solana is looking quite bullish. We have this trend line trading pattern where we bring it all to these highs down here, and you can see we made a really solid break above there, and we're now pushing even above these old highs, better than Bitcoin, better than Ethereum, and now we're having this positive sloping exponential moving average. Since this break here would have been a perfectly nice trade, nearly 10% on this particular trade. It's an absolutely fantastic trade. So you can also see coming down and looking at the MACD histogram, look how the MACD histogram looks completely different to Bitcoin. We're having these continuous bullish pushes to the upside, which show that there's more buying momentum in the market than selling momentum. So not only have we got a break above this exponential moving average, and now riding it to the upside, we've also got a break on this trend line trading pattern. We've also got a break on this MACD histogram looking like upticks on the upside. So even Solana is looking even more bullish than Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now coming over to look at Ripple, XRP, you can see it's even more bullish than all these coins. You can see we connect these highs and actually drag it across all through this area. You can see how we're riding it to the downside, potentially using this as a resistance level. But once we finally got an actual bar closing above, and that's what we're looking for, we need a bar to end close on the day above this line. That was the actual entry on the trade. You can see from this particular entry all the way up, that was over 17% profit on that particular trade. And it looks even more bullish than Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even Solana because we got a break above this trend line trading pattern. We look down now at the MACD histogram. Look how bullish the MACD histogram is. We've had multiple weeks, not just days, multiple weeks of this bullish momentum to the upside. Plus, look at the exponential moving average. The slope of the exponential moving average is extremely bullish because it's very much sloping at a much higher angle than every other coin. So we have this value area between here, between the short and medium term exponential moving average. That's where would be a high probability that if price came back into this area, then I'd look back to longs to the upside. So even XRP, Ripple is breaking the market right now, bullish pushes to the upside. Let's now look at Dogecoin. You can see Dogecoin has this trend line trading pattern where we bring it all the way across from this high to this high and all the way through. You can see we've had a slight break. we've then come back to retest this area and potentially come back to retest it for a second time. It's not quite looking as bullish as a lot of these other coins. We've definitely had multiple weeks above the zero line, but it's fading between slightly bullish and slightly even more bullish because we have had slight downticks showing this slightly more bearish momentum. Plus, if we look at this slope of the exponential moving average, we're actually slightly sloping to the downside by a couple of angles. So you can see what we really need is to get a break above this exponential moving average and then have it begin sloping to the upside. Without these positive slopes on the EMA, it's truly showing that we're either in a sideways market or we're going to continue a little bit to the downside. So at least this trend line break is showing me that there is some bullish momentum. Having these positive histogram breaks is also showing me above the zero line is showing me that there is some bullish momentum. What we are going to need is to get this exponential moving average to also confirm that. And that's when I would be really interested in actually getting into a trade on Dogecoin for 2023. It's just in that Bitcoin developers are debating on whether they should adjust the Bitcoin code to suppress ordinals and BRC20 tokens. This comes after billions worth of transactions swarmed the Bitcoin network in May, causing transaction fees to surge and the extreme network congestion. So what actually happened is during this time is a lot of ordinals, which are basically Bitcoin-based NFTs, and BRC20 tokens, which are Bitcoin-based tokens. And this is also slightly scary. Why can someone change the code of Bitcoin? Isn't this a big red flag? Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, there are 4 maxis that have complete control over the Bitcoin code and can change anything. Anyone who doesn't believe this should do research into Blockstream and Tether. They see how Bitcoin crumbled when it saw slight demand from the meme craze, so now they want to suppress it. This is just one of 1,000+ reasons why Bitcoin will never succeed in the long run, although I don't quite agree with that statement, but it does show that if 4 people across the world have complete control over the Bitcoin code, I'm not really very impressed by that, but it is showing that once these ordinals, which are basically Bitcoin-based NFTs, were released onto the market, it really increased the transaction costs because there are a lot of people then from that NFT meme coin craze coming over to the Bitcoin blockchain to actually use it to buy NFTs. And since Bitcoin is a little bit slower with all of its transaction fees, especially compared to Ethereum and a lot of other networks, and we started to have a lot of congestion. And what happened when congestion, and when we got higher prices in the Bitcoin transaction, there was a lot more congestion. People were paying higher transaction fees in order to get their transaction through fast. So you can basically change the fee size. So you're paying a higher fee, so it actually comes through quicker. Miners would prefer to take your transaction over somebody else's because they're going to get paid more. And basically what happened is caused the transaction fees surge and basically extreme network congestion, especially if you weren't willing to pay that slightly higher fee, then your transaction was left right at the bottom, and a lot of people will put before yours. Now, 1 Bitcoin equal to $1 billion. Fidelity. 1 Bitcoin may be worth $1 billion, says Fidelity. One of the world's biggest asset managers has become one of the world's biggest Bitcoin bulls with a top-off model that blows all others out of water. Now, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to go to $1 billion, but what it's showing is Fidelity, one of the world's biggest asset managers, actually does believe that 1 Bitcoin will be worth $1 billion in the future. And it truly shows that while we're trying to scrape around for prices right now, oh, it's gone to 23,000, oh, it might go to 27,000, oh, it's gone to 31,000. We should not be worried about these $30,000 levels. People are basically saying we're going to millions, if not billions of dollars per Bitcoin over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So really the goal should be to just hold 1 Bitcoin in your wallet, and that would mean you're going to be extremely wealthy in the next 20 to 30 years. Lastly, and this is getting me extremely bullish on Ethereum and why I personally prefer to trade Ethereum over Bitcoin. The percentage of Ethereum supply available on exchanges just reached 14%. A 7-year low not seen since July 2016. Almost 19% of the entire supply of Ethereum is now being staked. The supply shock pump is happening this year. So it's showing that right now available on exchanges is a very low percentage of the entire Ethereum network. What it's showing right now is the total Ethereum supply on exchanges compared to the total supply of Ethereum is very, very low. A lot of people are staking their Ethereum and it's locked up for a certain period of time, which they won't be able to trade. And it's just showing that since we have such a small amount available on exchanges, it means that when the price does come in and people get really extremely bullish into Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is coming in the next few months, then there isn't going to be much to buy. The supply is very limited. If the demand is very high, using that supply and demand curve, it means that price is going to basically go straight up to the moon. You can see here that the total Ethereum staked is 22,336,000. Roughly 19% of the entire supply of Ethereum is being staked right now, which means it's being locked up, it's not being traded, the supply is diminishing, whereas the demand is increasing, showing that there will be an explosion in price. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, leave a like on the video, make sure you're subscribed for future videos, and leave a comment if you're enjoying these daily crypto videos. I'll see you in tomorrow's video.